All right, for Unit 9, percents 9-3, we are looking at a mixture of percents practice. So you are trying to figure out what kind of a problem it is and how to solve it. Notice that we will also be using these methods for figuring out what's for dinner. You're going to pretend to be a waiter or waitress, and you'll have to calculate the tax for the meal. And if you are a person that is a diner, you will be sitting and ordering, but then you will also have to calculate what tip you will be given the waiter or waitress. So, creating and ordering from restaurant menus is definitely a life skill that you will need, and it includes percents. If we look ahead to the homework for 9-3, this is really a mixture of all the practice that you started doing in 9-2. So looking here at page 13, you have to answer each question, make sure that anything involving money has to be answered in dollars or cents, and round to the nearest tenth if necessary for any other questions. So a lot of you came up with this application of percents, that tests and grades have a lot to do with percents. That is correct. So you want to make sure that you understand how to work with them. And I know that you've had a lot of practice, but we're going to put that practice to work. If a test has 20 questions, always look for the numbers in the problem. And be thinking in the back of your head of that percent proportion. If you want to rewrite it up at the top of your paper, you totally could. If you don't understand what I'm talking about with a percent proportion, then I need you to go back and watch video 9-2. So this is the part is over the whole, and it's really like a fraction, just like what we do in our homework, where we grade the homework. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. Pardon me for a second while I page through. It's this. So the number correct out of the total, that's really just what you are doing with every one of these problems. You're finding what is the part and what is the whole, and you're converting it to a percent. Or sometimes you're taking this percent and you're figuring out one of the pieces that's missing, either the number correct or the total. So going back to your homework, 9-3, page 13. Whoopsies, too far. Part over whole, you've been doing this for a very long time, equals percent over 100. So we have to figure out what information do we know and what do we need to find for each of these. If the test has 20 questions, well, right away you should be able to think, is that the part or the whole? I'd say definitely the whole. If Zach answered 75% of the questions correctly, that has a percent. So that goes in the percent spot. 100 is always what goes here, and it says how many questions did he answer correctly. As long as these two match, then you just write X here and that's your answer. But be very careful about these problems. Some of them are asking a different question altogether. So you want to make sure to answer the question that's being asked. So for this, you could just figure out the relationship between these numbers. I think it's easier than this relationship, so that's why I might suggest that. If we divide by 5, we can do the same thing up here, divide by 5, and you might be able to figure out your answer. If that doesn't make sense, you can always resort to cross multiply and divide. Another option is a new formula that we're going to talk about, but I just want you to see the connection between what we've already learned and what we're learning now. So either you're going to do 20 times 75, this is cross multiply and divide. Don't forget to divide by 100, or you're going to try this new formula. So there's lots of ways to solve these problems. You can choose which one works best for you. I'll use a different color for this next part. So there's another equation that was on your vocabulary sheet. If you want to page back to that to take a look at it, it's page 5. Okay, so scrolling up. If we want to look here, we'll see the other equation is right here. Part is equal to the percent out of 100 times the whole. It's a percent of the whole, and of means multiply. Out of means divide. So you're taking a percent of a whole. If you have the percent and the whole, this equation makes sense. If you don't, it might not be the best option. And again, if you get confused with many different methods, remember that you can always go back to this percent proportion. But the reason I like this one is because all you do is to find the part, you just take the percent and divide by 100 so that you change it to a decimal, and then you multiply by the whole. So for this one, you just take 75% and you would do 75 divided by 100 to change it to a decimal, and then multiply by 20, because that's the whole. You end up getting 0.75 times 20. If you know how to convert from whole numbers, percents, to decimals in your head, then you could just type this into your calculator, 0.75 times 20. And that's a really fast, easy way to solve this problem right away. So what is 0.75 times 20, or what would be 75% of 20? It's 15. That's what you should have gotten. No matter what method, you should have gotten the same answer. All right, so I showed you 3 different methods. You can choose whichever one works for you or make up your own. Let's just try one more of these. There are 11 math teachers. That is an 11, even though it's kind of hard to read. There are 11 math teachers at Woodbury teach Math 6. What percent of these teachers teach Math 6? There we go, sorry about that. So 11 is the total, and 3 is what the part is. Sometimes it's hard to find the numbers, but you have to look for which, sometimes the numbers are in word form. And you have to find the x over 100. For this one, it makes most sense in my mind to do the percent proportion. You're basically doing 3 out of 11, which just means I do 3 divided by 11, but then you have to change it to a percent, which means I multiply by 100. You could also do 3 times 100 divided by 11. Either way, you should get 27.27, and notice it's a repetand. It continues. So then we have to look at the directions, which ask us to round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Well, okay, so we're going to look one place past the tenths place, and it's a 7. That tells us to round up to 27.3. So please, if you can, write an approximate sign. That just basically means that our answer is rounded. And I write 27.3 with a percent sign. If you don't write the percent sign, it would be considered wrong because it's asking you what is the percent. Again, anytime it's a percent, make sure you write a percent sign in your answer. Okay, looking forward, you're going to finish this page for your assignment, and also the next page for your assignment, and that is it. This is the activity that we'll be doing in class, so please make sure you get your work done so that you can be sure to enjoy this activity, where you get to plan what you're going to order and you get to take down someone's order, calculate tax and tip. All right, have a great rest of your day.